Yes, so Hairless here. We should have an interesting one today. This is Dimash singing the theme tune from Power Rangers. It's a single he released in 2017, and apparently this version of his was the theme song for the Power Rangers movie in China. This video we'll be watching from Dimash World Vietnam only has 5,000 views, so maybe it's not the most popular, but it should be interesting. There were a couple of comments on some of my Dimash videos that were discussing his newer music and the various genres that he sings in. Metal came up. Someone else said that this one, Power Rangers, is probably the closest thing Dimash has ever done to metal. We've seen him do just about everything, but not metal. I'm excited for this one. I loved Power Rangers as a kid. So without further ado, let's get straight into it.
To never seen before. They got the ability to move and to even up their score. No one will ever chase it down. The power lies on their side.
Oh, this is so nostalgic. I used to love Power Rangers as a young kid. I had the costume or outfit, whatever you call it. This is bringing back some serious memories. Obviously, what we're seeing is, well, a newer version. Any Stranger Things fans out there, you'll recognize Billy. Won't be able to pause on a good freeze frame, but yeah, there he is. So yeah, I'm not sure how much the nostalgia for the original theme tune is playing a part in this, but I'm actually really enjoying this. Dimash is obviously younger, but it's a very fun video that has been put together here. I like it when there's a mix of the film, the content that is being sung for, and then of course you have the artist in Dimash there. Very simple, kind of reflective windbreaker in a dark room with flashing lights, but it does the job. Let's go over the music a little bit, some of the things that I find most interesting. I did listen to the original song beforehand, and some of the comments on it are making me laugh. The top comment: this song went way too hard for no reason, and our parents wondered why we wanted to kick some ass when this show came on. And a reply: when this show first came out, I was 8 and I thought this was Metallica. Johnny Jones: me and my cousin were watching this and I ended up slapping him when the theme song came on. My dad said, why did you do it? And I said, the music gave me confidence. Oh, it's amazing. I could read these comments all day. Maybe this was my first ever exposure to metal. I have listened to some metal. I have a metal or hard rock playlist as well. And one of the great things about doing this is all the new music that you get exposed to. Dimash being an artist that I otherwise never would have heard of, and a lot of other genres like metal and such. Anyway, the original song, I'll just play you a few seconds. That does sound quite metal. Dimash is performing it a little bit higher, which is no surprise. So the original is in E minor, but Dimash is up here. Dimash's version seems a little bit less metal and more sort of synth wavy, kind of like Tron. I know a lot of that style of music, or the sound of the instruments, is very redolent of the 80s synthwave, retro wave, but I am getting that in this, and I guess it's kind of this like a futuristic aspect, right? Now, it's worth noting that Dimash's version is under 3 minutes long. The original song is 4 minutes. Because Dimash's version was the theme tune to the movie, I guess there are restrictions in place, time limitations, so they're going to have to cut out some bits. What they have changed though in the introduction is they've simplified it a little bit, and they've removed one of my favorite parts from the original. We're hearing these nice rising chords, everything very close together, very smooth, some nice chromaticism. etc. With, of course, that mental metal guitar on top. In Dimash's version, we don't get that. Instead, we have a very almost synth-wavy bass line. That's all the rhythms, or the real rhythmic importance, because behind that, we just have sustained slow chords moving.
They've got a power and a force that you never seen before.
Then when Dimash enters, things do seem a little bit more metal, a bit hard, rocky, you know, heavy. The end of the phrase there, the harmony, is quite interesting, actually. That's the top note that we're hearing harmonizing above Dimash, which is here. And the chord that we're getting, so that harmony note is the 7th, turning it into a 7th, which is a slightly more dissonant chord, you know, it adds a bit of harmonic substance. I love the contrast within Dimash's phrasing as well. They've, that first word, he comes in so operatically, really intense vibrato, and then on the got, the slide down and coming off in typical rock style. I know we've only heard just over a minute so far, but I'm finding that the most interesting. It's how Dimash is able to morph these kind of styles. I've just realized the words on the screen, they've got the ability to morph and to even up the score. That could be a sentence about Dimash, with score being the music. Again, it's just showing Dimash's versatility. Of course, he was much younger then than he was now. This was nearly 10 years ago. The other bit they did keep in, which I was actually surprised about, and I don't know why, but in the original song, so we get the chorus, and then towards the end of the chorus, there's a weird, almost like a temporary modulation. We just move into one chord that doesn't sound quite right. So they move from here, just up to here, and go Power Rangers, and then just back down. It sounds a little bit unnatural. In Dimash's version, they keep this in, of course, in a different key.
Go Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
And then back down, and then we have that in the bass at the bottom. So energetic. I don't really know what to expect because of artistic license. I can imagine there are a million different rules and regulations that have to be applied to this, being a cover song and also being the theme song for a movie. So I'll stop speculating and let's carry on and see what Dimash does with the rest of it. If you enjoy these videos, please consider supporting me. You can buy me a coffee or hot chocolate, join our Patreon for loads of additional content that's not available on YouTube, or become a YouTube member for these groovy emojis and membership badges. All options are linked below, and a special thanks to everyone on the screen. Back to the video. There's the guitar at the top.
They know to only use their weapons for defense. No one will ever take them down. The power lies on their side. Go Power Rangers. Go Power Rangers! Go Power Rangers! Your bloody Morphin Power Rangers! Go Power Rangers!
It's quite a banger, you know? Super catchy song. And it's making me want to watch Power Rangers. Am I too old for Power Rangers? Heck no. You're never too old to watch any... Well, no, you probably are. But I did quite recently rewatch one of the shows I loved as a child growing up. I tell you what, it was actually better than it was then because I understand more of the humor and everything. Quite clever. Anyway, I'm just voicing my temptations out loud. That's the power of music. The nostalgia is just hitting me different. Music is so nostalgic. If you hear a song you haven't heard in 20 years and it basically unlocks a new memory. After I've done filming this and listened a few more times, I'll probably go and watch some clips from the old Power Rangers. Anyway, back to the song. The music, because it's a film theme, like I say, there's probably a lot of restrictions in place or a lot of criteria that have to be met. And unlike some of Dimash's other performances or arrangements that we've seen, I don't actually know who arranged this. Was it Dimash? Maybe. But my point is going to be there are not too many new musical ideas, right? It's a theme song, it's for a film. They want to make it catchy, keep things fairly simple. We're not going to have crazy chord changes and modulations like we might see in an Igor Krutoy composition. Of course, we've seen Dimash sing quite a few of his. No, this is for the mainstream, probably for children. It shouldn't be too complicated. We do get a few new ideas introduced though, like the very metallic guitar. Very dissonant there, going into... And that's a lovely line, of course, absolutely encased in chromaticism. Rising, then chromatic, and then again chromatic, and then falling back down. And the chromaticism, of course, is really good in creating a bit of tension that is then released by the fall. We do get the same thing in the original, of course. This isn't like a new idea.
No one will ever take them down.
In the original, though, the harmony lines I think are much more clear. Like the lower line is actually moving quite a lot. It's the top line that is doing the chromaticism. Also, I love here how they go no one and then they hold the for a really long time. Dimash very much does the opposite, and I think, you know, as a whole, I used the word operatic earlier for Dimash, and in general, this is much more of that, which is to be expected. It's Dimash, and this is his forte, right? After the Go Go Power Rangers, let's just have a quick listen to the original. That very rhythmic line, chum, 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 chum. Electric guitar. What do we have here for Dimash?
Go Go Power Rangers!
Trumpet. Brass. It really does create a completely different feel. I feel like it's a bit more playful here in a way than having, you know, a kind of hard metal guitar playing. When you combine it with Dimash's way of singing that's much more open, it's higher up in general, a lot more vibrato and a bit more showy, it does seem a bit more playful, I think. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments. And just before we carry on, let's just re-listen to the climax moment where Dimash does a typical Dimash thing. A thing that we've come to expect from any Dimash song, just going crazy high. I also love the contrary motion against the bass line here, how the bass line is going down as Dimash is just going up and up and up, really opening up the arrangement. Okay, let's finish this one off. We don't have that long left, actually, maybe 40 seconds.
Go Go Power Rangers! Go Go Power Rangers! You're Magic Muffin Power Rangers! Go Go Power Rangers! Go Go Power Rangers! Go Go Power
That's a good way to end, isn't it? We finish with a tierce de Picardie, otherwise known as a Picardy third, where you where you finish a piece of music that's mostly minor or sadder sounding with a nice happy major chord, which we can really hear in one of the many Dimashes we're hearing, which is the major third, whereas earlier it was turning it into a minor, but no, finishing very nice and happy. No new musical ideas for that last section, except of course for Dimash's vocalizations. We've done a lot of Dimash on the channel. I've seen him live several times now, so I don't think I need to go over them really. That bit there, that's very much him displaying his vocal accuracy, switching down into that chest voice, hitting notes rapidly. If we played it in slow-mo, it would be like that. And then later on, it's a bit more male soprano Dimash. Wow. He's gone up to a top C sharp, one note below it here, a top C. That's as high as a soprano might be expected to sing. He's gone above that, Really, really high. I have, of course, heard him before go to here, and then even up into the heavenly territories of which we do not speak. But yeah, super, super high. I can imagine this playing in the cinemas in China, maybe at the end of the film or something, people walking out and they'll have no idea who they are listening to and how incredible he is. Well, that was really fun. I love different things like this. This video probably won't get as many views as my Dimash videos normally do, but that's fine, you know. I wonder how many Dimash fans have actually seen this before. Let me know if this is your first time seeing this. And if it is, I'm very happy to hear that because we have experienced this for the first time together. Good fun. Seeing Dimash, a younger Dimash as well, having a little nostalgia trip for me. I forgot how catchy this song was. Maybe I was introduced to metal music as a young kid through Power Rangers. All right, let's leave that one there. If you made it this far, thank you very, very much. Really appreciate it. Leave a like on the video if you want to see more Dimash on the channel. Likes really do help, so do comments. And if you don't want to write any words, let's go for an emoji. Today's emoji will be the alien emoji because Dimash is an alien and also it kind of looks like the Power Rangers helmets. Hope to see some aliens down there. Thank you once again and I will see you in the next one.